Hey, what is up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Rebel Jedi Podcast. I'm gonna quickly pop ping off in the Discord. How you doing? We are joined with Jedi Makios.
What's up, guys? What's up, Zach?
Ready to have a good discussion here. It's been a while since we had a chat.
It's true, yeah. Did we do one for Kenobi? I think we did, right?
Yes, we did. I think we did like two. I think we did two discussions.
Okay.
That show definitely needed two.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And we may even touch on a little bit today just in comparison and some things. I noticed just a couple things. So.
Okay, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, overall, let's just what's your general consensus of how the show was? Scale of 1 to 10. Let's start there.
I'm gonna be bold here. I'm gonna say a solid 9 out of 10. I only take it away. I just don't believe in perfect marks. I don't think anything should get 10 out of 10. But
nothing. There's nothing you can think of that would have a perfect score.
Nothing in the Star Wars universe, no.
Okay. Fair enough. Really? Hey?
Yeah.
So not even Revenge of the Sith?
No.
Or Empire Strikes Back?
No, I don't know. There's always something that I think could be done more, but that's just because I'm a fan and I'm always wanting more.
Could be improved on.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
That's fair. Once you start handing out 10s, it kind of gives the whole thing a pass.
Exactly, because a 10 to me implies that across the board, everybody likes it. Like you ask anybody, hey, what do you think of Andor? They're like, it's great, it's perfect. And honestly, it kind of has been that consensus for me, but some people, maybe don't like it, so I can't.
So that's the highest rating that you could give it.
Yeah.
So doesn't that kind of make it a 10 in the end anyway?
Sure, yeah, I could say that. Yeah, but I just think they did so many things well. And you touched on this in your "I was wrong about Andor" video. Yeah. They did the same thing in Rogue One as they did in Andor. They brought in a bunch of nobodies and gave them this awesome purpose in like starting the rebellion. And if we start to see like how nitty gritty like starting a rebellion is, it's saying no, it's like standing up and all that stuff. And I thought the show did a really good job of portraying that, and also just like the same thing as Rogue One, like starting small and just expanding everything. Like they're making these parts in the prison. Well, all we see is the parts. All we see is Cassian and the crew there making the parts. Well, now the end credits scene is the Death Star. So it's like they're making these parts for the Death Star.
Is that what they were doing?
I think so. I'm just gonna go on a limb that it's never explicitly said. I'm assuming that's what those parts were for, because they're making a shit ton of them. So, right?
I'm just got a big shadow cast over my head.
That's all good.
Quick hello to Mystic and Nick. Thanks for joining us, guys.
What's up, guys?
Nice to see a chat again.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, what's up, guys? Nice to see some faces from the Discord as well.
Yeah. So, okay. I'm trying to think. I haven't even given it a thought what I would give it. I think I'd probably give it a 7.5 or an 8.
Okay. So a little lower than mine. Okay, but still lower.
For me, I mean, I kind of agree with, well, the thing is, I mean, I talked about in my video, there were a couple of things that I could nitpick, and I try not to be too much of a nitpicker. Like I could have made a whole section in that video.
I know,
right? And I did actually want to talk to you about this,
Mm.
because I didn't want to dedicate time to it in my video. Oh, my dog.
Ronan?
He activated the little shark vacuum, and it's going around, and now he's freaked out.
Excellent. Yeah. Do you need to take a minute?
Yeah, I better go.
Okay, yeah, no worries.
Feel free to share your opinion.
Okay.
What would make Revenge of the Sith a 10 out of 10?
Oh my goodness. You're going to leave me with that one? I don't know. What would make it a 10 out of 10? I can't see the comments. I'm not going to look at them. But I think he just needed to see... I think this was just a problem throughout the prequel. Some people may disagree with me. That's fine. But I think we just needed to see more Anakin and Obi-Wan together. I thought Kenobi did an okay job of redeeming that time we missed of Anakin and Obi-Wan not together. I'm explaining what could have made Revenge of the Sith better. I think, and this was problem throughout this prequels. Not a problem. What could have made it better? We needed Anakin and Obi-Wan together more.
More time of that because they were separated for most of that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's like the last thing is, Anakin saying, "May the Force be with you," and it's like, "Goodbye, old friend. May the Force be with you." It's like, well, that's such an anticlimactic note to like end off on. I don't know.
Isn't that the beauty of it?
I know,
because
it just speaks to you never know when the last time is going to be you say goodbye to your friend.
Okay,
any time could be.
Let's put a pin in this so we can come back to it later.
Okay.
I love that. Okay, yeah, we were talking about rating the show. Oh yeah, so something I wanted to talk to you about was I don't know if you're familiar with the drama in the Star Wars community regarding how George Lucas went out of his way to create things that were not of Earth. So when you're watching Star Wars, you don't want to see things that you have in Earth. Like you don't want to look for.
Okay, I was wondering if we were going to touch on this point because there were too many humans. For
you think so?
Some people, I don't know. I didn't really care. Honestly, I was so.
There are a lot of humans now that you mentioned it. Actually,
like way more. At least over 95%. You have to assume, unless there's some like alien species that just look like a human. There could be that, but anyway, my point being, I didn't care really about that. And although that could be an essence of Star Wars being more of a science fantasy, Star Trek being science fiction fantasy, you want to see what makes it a fantasy. You want to see the differences. But I was so taken by the Andor story, like. There were 3 awesome storylines going on. Like there was the Cassian story, there was the Mothra story, and then there was the ISB agent story. And like you cared and didn't care about each story at like different times. Like I didn't care about the ISB at the beginning. I sure as hell cared about it from like the episode 6, 5 or 6 onward, because it's like, oh my gosh, you know what's going on with the rebellion, but you're watching like the ISB and the Empire like unravel it, and how
they're so confident too the whole time.
Oh, right.
Like, oh yeah, we're gonna squash this thing.
Yeah, and
they didn't squash it.
One of such a great like look at the Empire, and I hope we get more stuff like that. Just different looks, different perspectives of like things that are going on, and like those like big boy like workers on what's the freaking Ferrix, like how they just knocking over the one droid, and they just like. This is it. Like Empire has gone too far, and like that one act, but it's just like the straw that broke the camel's back. I love the build up to it, and I love that we're getting a second season. And okay, I'm gonna say the thing that I just loved the most about Andor. They didn't. How do I say this? They didn't treat the series like it was a museum, even though they definitely could have. They didn't put a bunch of Easter eggs everywhere, right? This is the Cassian Andor story. Kenobi was and this is what I was like going to touch on with Kenobi, was dangerously close at just giving us nostalgia and just playing on that and not really giving us anything new. And I think that was one of your biggest worries going into Andor, was another rebellion story, another drawn out thing, nothing new. But Andor gave us something new. It gave us new perspectives.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of nobodies. I mean, it's so funny your choice of words, museum. I love that. Except for the literal museum in Andor that had Easter eggs in it.
Exactly, but those were fun. Those were fun. They
room.
never talk about it. Fucking, you want to look at the Amidala like headdress? Cool, awesome. Figure that shit out. Don't talk about it in Andor, and they didn't. Great job.
That's how Easter eggs should be.
Yes. Right? Don't talk about them. That's the point. Yeah. Isn't that the point?
You have to find them yourself.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes. Yeah. You're describing an Easter egg hunt.
Yes, I am. Okay, Ferrix. So, did you feel at any point, I'm seeing if you agree with me or not, that there were too many characters? Because I feel like there were some moments where I was like, wait, what's this guy's really? Is he Andor's brother? Is he his coworker?
Yeah.
Like his homie from the beginning. Like, I have no fucking idea who he is.
And then also from the beginning, and maybe they'll do this in season 2, but they like his whole motivation is looking for his sister.
Yeah.
And then it's like episode 4 or 5, whenever, it's like, okay, that's done. We're never ever going to talk about that again. And maybe that'll be like his condition for the rebellion, because like he did join. What's that fucker's name? Valen. What's his? You know who I'm talking about.
Oh, Vel's the girl.
Luthen.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he joins Luthen, like it's, I don't know, it's an understanding between them for sure. But I think there's definitely going to be some more unraveling here. And when they had that Imperial like interrogation droid, like the K2SO model, I love that they didn't actually go into that story of like converting that to Imperial droid for the Rebel cause, like we see him in Rogue One.
Oh, I see.
That they're just like, hey, these droids are here, they're around, it's coming. We might see it in season 2, but no, that's just another Easter egg that they don't talk about, but it's just there.
Yeah.
And Easter egg, I'll use that one lightly there because those things were scary, dude. Like those things were terrifying. I couldn't imagine like being pulled over by the Empire and like Cassian. You know, we all know he did nothing wrong on the beach. Like he was literally a tourist on the beach who got pulled over for doing nothing.
Well, they're so goofy, and we saw them a lot in Fallen Order. But they're so goofy, and they're like chasing you like they're gonna give you a hug, you know. But like,
yeah, it's like, man, they get a hold of you.
They just grip you, put you up against the wall, and it's like shit.
Oh, and like you mentioned, Fallen Order and the droids just reminded me, like, no Jedi. I love that. Nothing like there is like the Order 66 overhang is so real in Andor that's like there's nothing to be spoken of the Jedi at all. Like there's no glimmer of hope. There's nothing, you know.
Yeah.
All it is Luthen, Mothra, and like just try to spark something, trying to at least create awareness as to what's going on. And like even when they're escaping from the prison, it's like, guys, hey, like this is bad. Like the Empire is evil.
Yeah.
Like, no one knows about it though.
I'm glad there were no Jedi or Order 60. Like I'm so burnt out of Order 66 and Post. Like that used to be all that I wanted, but now it's like,
yeah, what would that be? That would be a named character that we would be forced to care about. The reason why we can watch Andor or Cassian so freely is we know he dies. We know he's just gonna die for the Rebel cause in the end, and so we're not investing anything into him, but we're just really excited to see how he actually gets to where he's at when, say, he even meets Jyn Erso. Because like when he meets Jyn, he's a top officer, I'd say, in the rebellion.
Now I'm curious. How did he? Like
where's Luthen? Where's Luthen in Rogue One? Has he found out? Like, there's so much I want to know now from Andor season 2, because like it's almost like Disney Star Wars has this golden opportunity to do a Game of Thrones-esque thing and kill off all the main characters because they can. Yeah. You know? So it's walking on, it's creeping a little bit here. You're scared for these rebels almost because, you know, they're expendable. They're cannon fodder. They're not main characters. They're not Skywalkers. They're not in the Millennium Falcon. You know, they're whatevers. They're grinders. They're stonemasons, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
So it's a real element of they got something to lose, and you just don't feel that in the original trilogy because
it's true.
It's whatever.
The original, like A New Hope, has kind of got this fairy tale vibe to it.
Yes, exactly.
Is not like you. They're the rebels. They're the heroes right out the gate. You know that they're the good guys. But in this one, like obviously we know they're the good guys, but you know we know there's a lot of shifty stuff going on, like Mon Mothma sending her daughter off to get married because it helps her out of a financial bind.
Doing a sketchy business deal with a sketchy business guy that actually ends up learning how much trouble she's actually in. Like, I want to watch through Andor probably a couple times so I really understand like her financial side of it, because that seemed to be a kind of like the same reason I was into the prequels for like the political, like trade federation side of it.
Yeah,
like, I kind of want to see I want to see a little bit more like the white collar. That's me personally. I know that probably won't appeal.
No. I think you're absolutely right. I've heard a lot of people saying that was the big thing they were excited about.
Because I think that would be definitely something the ISB would have a team dedicated to, and it would almost be like the Imitation Game, like come up with a code to crack rebellion codes, and then the rebellion knowing which codes the Empire's cracked, like how to move money without the Empire seeing it, you know?
Yeah,
like just these underhanded, shifty things, and I think Andor can give that to us because it's an underhanded, shifty show.
What was the name that they gave Lutheran or whatever his name is?
Luthen?
The ISB. They had some code name for him.
Axis.
Axis or something
Yeah,
like that.
Axis. Or I
That's
think that's their. Oh yeah, they're looking for. They think Andor can lead them to Axis because Axis is Luthen, but it's also Mothra, Mon Mothra.
right. Yeah, that definitely reminded me of
They
Star Wars Rebels with
they think it's one person, but it is a network. It's developing into
yeah.
a network, and that's what Luthen wanted. He wanted it to be like a network of things going off at the like spontaneously at the same time. That's how
Yeah.
that airfield job went so well. It was just all these things fell into place at exactly the right time. Oh my gosh, there are so many positive things I could say about Andor. Like just that one mission, like so early on, went off almost without a hitch. I'd say like the mission was completed. A few people died, like that kid with the manifesto died. That was kind of sad, but like the mission was a success. But it's like the mission was a success, but they never understood the actual consequences of what the mission would do. They thought it would be like, oh, we just hit the Empire in their finances. We get finances. Empire loses finances. Wash our hands, done. But no, like the Empire like takes that and they just like grip so hard.
They dropped the
on
hammer on like every single planet.
the
that they
hammer.
had.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it just starts on Ferrix and oh man.
So they
Dude,
made it
yeah.
worse for themselves before they could make it better.
Yeah, and but they it
Well,
was just there was so much just human decision. Like we need to make a decision and just live with the consequences, and the
Well,
consequences are just so they're so real, they're so relatable. It's so like you can't actually do a business deal with someone until you know what's the worst thing they can do to you. You know what I mean? Like
yeah. Like the discussion between Saw Gerrera and Lutheran about how they had to
Yeah.
sacrifice that whole chunk of
squad, but it's like
Yeah.
you sacrifice 10 for 1,000, you know,
and
or
that's
you
shit that
know.
happened that has probably happened in real life at some point.
But I didn't
Yeah.
really know that was happening until Luthen actually went to Saw Gerrera and discussed it with him, because Luthen gave that freaking epic monologue about like what he's fighting for. I hope to be a spark so that there may be a flame when I'm gone, or like some stuff like that. You know, he just where was I going with that? I lost my train of thought.
That's
Shoot.
okay. Yeah.
But
yeah, it's kind of cool that it happened off scene. Like every time we see Lutheran, he's dealing with something. We don't know what's going on, but it's some massive scale thing that like he's dealt with since the last time we see him. We just see how many strings that he's pulling.
Yeah, and oh my goodness, I'm almost expecting him to turn. I'm almost expecting him to be a double agent. I am. I'm waiting for like that's the Hans, like the Solo story. Like
yeah, I was just gonna say that's the same thing that happened there. That would
similar.
that would be too cliche.
Maybe, but I think it would be. Well,
no one would expect it. That's for sure.
Yeah, where people would just be like, so like, oh my gosh, we should have seen this coming. Like it would almost be like a Game of Thrones, Peter Baelish, you know, betraying Ned Stark. You know, the guy you shouldn't have trusted, the guy who like, you know, and Andor. I don't know. Like it's tough with him because the Empire's hunting him, the Rebellion's hunting him. At one point, they both want him dead. He ends up joining the Rebellion, and I don't know. I think there's just going to be some people in the Rebellion that still want him dead, because we even see that in Rogue One, with one of the Rebellion officers telling Cassian when they go to that mission to kill or to capture Jyn Erso's father, the creator of the Death Star. Right. And the officer takes Cassian aside and says, there's no extraction mission. You get a shot, you take it. You know, like that sort of mindset. Like not everyone's on the same page. Everyone's got different orders. It's cloak and dagger. You don't really know who to trust. You don't really know who's on top, who's pulling the strings. Because it's really only Cassian that knows it's Luthen at the top. Right, like because that blood
and Val and Mothma, I guess,
but
very
Val,
limited.
But Val knows Luthen by a different. Oh no, she doesn't. Never mind. She knows Luthen too. Yeah, so it's like it's Cassian, Val, and Mon Mothma, and then Luthen's assistant that are like in the inner circle. And Val and Luthen wanted Cassian dead at one point. Mon Mothma probably would have wanted him dead had she known about him.
Yeah, they'll tie up loose ends, and that's not the vibe we got in A New Hope either.
Mm-mm.
And then you look at it and you're like, okay, yeah, I guess it makes sense that it was
But
not this
again,
easy. You can't just
it's
rile people up into an army.
no, and even at the beginning of Rogue One, we see it like he shoots the other rebellion officer because he has a broken arm. He can't climb and get out. And that
Mm.
officer has valuable information. And now we know from Andor that Cassian is aware of Imperial interrogation techniques, and he saw what it did to Bix, and he knew that that officer could not take it, and it would therefore compromise the rebellion. But it's like it's still so dark. Like this rebel, this good guy, kills another rebel, another good guy in cold blood in the street.
Yeah.
You know,
The
because he doesn't.
protagonist.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I always wondered about with A New Hope is like, where did they get all this shit? Where did they get all their guns? Where did they get all their X-Wings? Like, how did they all have uniforms? Like, where do they get how did this all happen? Because it's just there. It's just the good guys are here, the bad guys are here.
Right. And that's why
I've always wondered, even with all these new shows and movies, I've wondered. But even with the sequels, I wondered. But now I see, like, okay, this is probably how they got it. They probably made some underhanded deal, or, you know, it cost them something. They didn't just get it because they're the good guys.
Right. And like, there's just such a small detail in A New Hope where Moff Tarkin is on the Death Star, and he's talking about like Palpatine essentially dissolving the Senate. So at this point, like Andor, Rogue One, the Senate, then the Republic is still fighting, right? They still have to say that these families on Coruscant, they don't like the Empire, and they still have money, and the Empire at this point still needs to respect them. But like something's gonna happen, something's gonna come in probably the next 5 to 7 years. Well, probably sooner than that, honestly. That Palpatine's going to do something in the Senate and essentially make the Republic ineffective. Like, they can't do anything to stop his lawmaking and his policy making anymore.
Yeah,
and then that'll be the straw that essentially brings the rebellion into what we see in A New Hope. You know, like this full-fledged, like full hangar bay full of X-wings, like flight suits, droids. You know, like a full base of operation, and like a solid base of operation. You know, on is it Yavin 4?
Yeah,
I believe that is. Yeah. So it's just like it's gonna happen, but this money is still there. I think that's the side we're all kind of wanting a little more detail on. I think with another watch through, maybe a couple more watch throughs, we'll see more about what actually happens with Mothra's money there.
Yeah, it's really cool when we can watch something that enhances the thing that follows it. Because after watching Rogue One, what was the first thing you wanted to do?
Watch A New Hope.
Watch A New Hope.
Yeah, literally.
Now all I want to do is watch Rogue One again.
Yeah, I do too.
We should probably do a watch party or something.
I'd be so down, man. Like Rogue One is.
And that's great, though.
It's been called one of the greatest Star Wars movies, and I mean, who could argue it? Some could, some could make the argument for some prequel movies or another movie I'm not thinking of, but Rogue One was it was a masterpiece to me. Okay. Like soundtrack even too, like just it's paralleling, like the Star Wars soundtrack, the original John Williams, but it never actually touches it though. Whole other video on that. But
so, what would you say is probably the most what was your favorite part of Andor? What was the part that had you the most engaged and you were like pissed when the episode ended?
The last one.
Oh, really?
I wasn't. I was
nice.
pissed. I was pissed, man. I was pissed up until the last credit scene because I was like, it just ends with him saying, "Shoot me." Well, he does. I don't actually know what the last line is, but it's it's essentially like Cassian saying to. I was forgetting his name.
I think it's Lutheran or Luthen.
Luthen. There's no R. I think it's Luthen.
I'm thinking of like the
Lutheran Church. No, but I was like, okay, so did he join the rebellion? I mean, we know he did, but I wanted to freaking hear him say it. Like I was kind of watching it to say, I'm a rebel, or some shit.
Well,
like
they did that shit on purpose.
Yeah, just to piss me off. I know they did.
I think the prison was my favorite part.
I would say that, but Sorry, I was so mad, and then my roommate Josh told me that hey, there's
Yeah.
an end credit scene, and all it was the Death Star. I was like, okay,
I didn't know
okay,
there was one until
yeah,
you had told me, and
oh,
then
okay.
I literally today I realized I still haven't seen that end credit scene.
It's nothing really. It's just the Death Star, but
It's
it,
I was
it made
fired
me
up
so
though for
okay.
some
It made me
reason.
like, okay, this is what's coming. This is what we're leading to right now.
Could you imagine that bombshell when they realized, oh shit, they're building a big space cannon?
Yeah, I kind of hope they do it. What do you think of this? What do you think if they bring back Mads Mikkelsen, the one who played Galen Erso, the creator of the Death Star? What if they brought him back for like a
That'd be sick.
season
Yeah,
2 cameo? I
I
think, right? Or they bring back the actress for Jin Erso, like even just to see her being on like a prisoner transport or something. Like,
I think
just
if they did a little nod to her in the season finale or something,
okay.
you know, like
I
no
know.
other connection,
Now
just
I'm
a
I'm
little.
gonna get ahead here now. So season 2, what do you think of like some Jedi appearances? Is that something you want to
Why?
see? Okay,
No,
okay.
I like the atmosphere. I like the mood. Jedi are kind of the thing with Jedi they mess everything up because they're like win cards, you know, because they can beat
Mhm.
anybody in any conflict. So anytime you introduce a Jedi, there's always got to be the thing that can fight the Jedi. They never just have a Jedi. There
Oh, and then
always
it's
has to
and now
be
it's
a
the Jedi
fucking
story. Yeah.
Inquisitor, or now there has to be a Sith, or now there has to be someone so that we get a fight, and it just
Mhm.
quickly becomes the Jedi show.
Gotcha.
I'd love to see one that was just kind of in the background, that just
Hmm.
kind of played a small role and like helped in the fight scenes, but like, you know, he had something that tied him up,
Hmm.
and he couldn't just like win all the fights or something.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know. I just think Jedi make things complicated. So every time we see them, there always has to be a counter. You can't just have such a dominant force without a balance.
Right. Right. I think okay. So on that note, then I think maybe just even mention of a Jedi, like I it I don't know some something in Andor, like oh, there's been a sighting of like Obi-Wan on Tatooine or something like that. You know.
But what would that serve the plot, you think?
Well, I mean, we had that Kenobi show where he saved the princess, and Leia, obviously a huge part of the rebellion.
So it'd be like it'd be, well, I
Yeah.
guess kind of an Easter egg, but I think them starting to plan against the Death Star would be a good season 2. And
Hmm.
like I said in my video, I don't think that Cassian Andor, I think his character development still has a long way to go, because he was very reluctant the whole time. Like the heist that they did, the prison escape, 2 massive blows to the Empire. That he didn't even do that to get at the Empire. He didn't even care about getting at the Empire yet.
Right.
You know, they
Yeah.
were just like he had to do those things to save his own ass.
Hmm.
And so even at the end, he didn't go fight the Empire on Ferrix because he's like, fuck the Empire. He only went to bust Bix out and to like maybe redeem his mother. So nothing in this show
Huh.
has been him fighting the Empire. It's all
It's
been
it's still like
self-motivated.
just him like getting what he needs or wants. Yeah.
So I think season 2 might be where he maybe all these things accumulate. Like, yeah, the Empire
Mm.
fucked him and put him in that prison, but he never was like pissed off about the Empire. He was just kind of blew the whistle on like the jail. He exposed the weaknesses on it.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. So he's
You know what I
still
mean?
not okay. Yeah. Yeah. He's not a full rebel yet, but it's like
I don't think so.
he's
Still
he's
don't think
still
he's
like
committed to the cause yet.
I think he's like a tool for the rebellion.
It seems like a case of fate and destiny, because like
Yeah.
he
He
can't
tries to
help
fight
it.
it. Yeah. He
Yeah, he
can't.
tries to run away,
Yeah.
and then he gets pulled back into it inadvertently, and then by accident he deals another massive fucking blow and he escapes the prison.
Yeah, he tries to get out of the fight, just play the neutral against the Empire, and the Empire's like, no, can't do that. Sorry.
Yeah.
And it's like that. Like that's sometimes you do just have to take a side. Like there's comes a time where doing nothing is injustice, and maybe Cassian. That's what we find out in season 2. Like there isn't just being neutral anymore. Being neutral is being for Empire.
What is this? Dead Kids Manifesto. Am I blanking on this?
No, they did like this like speech thing on the last episode. It was super epic.
Are you talking about Marva?
No, it was that kid on the heist mission, the one that died. He's like doing his like manifesto thing. It's
Oh
a, it's
shit,
just, yeah, it's
that
it's
was
a kind of
him.
a big. There's a lot of like just little plot points that just kind of that are forgotten. Like the sisters, one of them, the manifesto. I forgot about until the last episode,
Yeah,
and it was
I
like an
forgot about it.
overlay.
Yeah.
So
I totally missed that connection.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, like, because I would love to just listen to that manifesto again because like I was, so much was said, and it was all good shit. You
Yeah.
know.
You think that do you think that he's fully committed, or do you think there's going to be one more thing that's going to fully like?
I think it's gonna be a couple things, man.
Because season 2 is either going to start with him out of the gate. They're going to start off first episode, some exciting mission,
I
or
think
is
he's
it?
gonna. I think Saw Gerrera is gonna get double crossed by Andor because that's another thing we know in Rogue One is Saw Gerrera is very um, anxious. He's skeptical. He's paranoid, even about rebels and like Andor, like Cassian Andor, like you know. And if correct me if I'm wrong, but in Rogue One, does it seem like Saw Gerrera and Cassian Andor know each other? Because
I
that
didn't get those vibes.
okay, okay.
Well, I don't even remember him being there, but he was. That's the thing. He's kind of forgettable in Rogue One.
Yeah, see, but Jyn Erso knows Saw Gerrera, and like her father Galen Erso knows Saw Gerrera as well because it's Saw Gerrera that saves Jyn from that shaft there.
Yeah, his involvement makes so much more sense.
Yeah, and I
Seeing
really
him there now.
I like Saw Gerrera in Rebels too. You know, just developing. He's a bit of a wild card. You know,
Yeah,
was he in Bad Batch as well?
probably.
I
I don't
can't
remember.
remember. He makes a lot of just random cameos. It's hard to keep
Yeah.
up. But yeah, I think something's gonna happen to him in season 2. And I think it's gonna suck. Like it's gonna suck for him, you know,
Interesting.
because I think he's already on edge, right? With I keep forgetting Luthen. I'm gonna just
Yeah.
think Lutheran, but
Yeah.
Luthen.
There you go.
He's already on edge with him, right? You know, like Luthen sending that squad into their deaths and Saw didn't agree with it. He understood it, but he still hated it. You know, he still saw. I still thought he might have done something about it, but he didn't.
Yeah.
I was still waiting for a. Oh, we know this Imperial trooper is a rat because, like, how did the rebels know? Blah blah blah. But they're not even. Are they calling them rebels at this point? I don't think so.
I don't know. No.
Just insurgents or whatever.
I don't know. It's cool that Saw is that they have to kind of fight to get him. Like they're on the same side, but they're not working.
But they're
together.
not. They're different. And I love the X-Wings. It's such a little minor thing, but I love the X-Wings. They're not painted in rebel colors. They're like black and gold. They're super cool.
That's the thing. We
and,
saw the rebellion so polished in A New Hope.
Yeah. Yeah. You know? Okay. Yeah.
Like they were in uniforms. They had the same painted ships. They
Yeah.
had the organized leadership. Right now they're kind of scattered, and it's very railroady and
it's gritty. It's guerrilla. You know, it's street warfare. It's they need to. They're 5 fingers right now. They need to develop it to a fist. You know.
Yeah. That's perfect analogy.
And they're coming to it. Mon Mothra, I think she's going to do some work in the Senate because there are other senators that do join the rebellion. You know,
it makes me laugh thinking of the award ceremony in A New Hope. Like, how the fuck do you only credit those like 3 people?
Well, I mean, we kind of see that, you know, like Luthen rewarding Cassian more than the others. You know, maybe a Jedi and a rogue pirate like Han Solo, but
it was like kind of like a joint effort, you know. I mean, I could see you giving Luke a medal because he was the one who dealt the kind of the finishing blow there.
Without his computer, like he's like the chances are low, and Luke lowers them even more by getting rid of the computer. It's like, could you imagine if that fucking guy missed? Could you imagine if he missed after he turns off and the whole rebellion can see that he turned off his targeting computer?
I bet the rebellion, when they found out the Death Star 2 was being made, there must have been like somehow the Death Star has returned.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say when the rebellion heard of the Death Star 2, they're like, okay, how do we not get Luke to take this last shot? How do we get the guy who's not gonna turn off his targeting computer?
Fucking sequels ruin everything.
I got it. Put Luke on the Death Star.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, when in hindsight, when I look at it, I mean, I've always kind of thought like, really, a Death Star 2. That's been the one kind of criticism I've had over the OT. Like, it's pretty unoriginal, George.
It is, but
it was well executed, but
it was well executed. They did the Death Star 2 not in the same way, right? It wasn't completed, and Palpatine used that to his advantage. It's like the weapon, they rushed the weapon system. So it's like, oh, this weakened, vulnerable space system, and just decimated half the Rebellion fleet as soon as it showed up. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Like, that's different. It's a familiar story. You don't really have to. They don't have to go over the logistics of the battle station anymore. We know it from A New Hope. But even still, that there's a side mission though that's talked about, that squad of Bothans going in to retrieve the plans for the second Death Star. But it was actually Palpatine that let the plans go. So it's like,
I don't remember that at all.
Oh, okay. That's what he tells Luke. He says, like, when Luke, Vader, and Palpatine are in their throne room, though, he's like, do you really think it was like the rebels that stole his plans? I let them have the plans. So because he knows.
I forgot about that.
So it's like, but I'm connecting it now to Andor Rogue One. It's like Palpatine knows that the rebels are getting their information from a high up source. So why not just give them the information? And now you know what information they have. Now you control. Palpatine. That's big brain, but I think that's ISB intelligence too. I think that's another thing we're gonna get to see maybe in season 2. I'm hyping it up a lot. I'm giving a lot of. Maybe we get to see this. Maybe
did you like the way the ISB and Mac? I see your question. Or Mystic Mac. I would see your question. We'll get to that. Do you like the way that the ISB was handled? Because like I think when I look at it, there were. I mean, I was kind of actually hoping for a little more from them, but like, did you like the dynamic between her and that guy that she had a rivalry with?
Yeah,
like how he was preventing her from doing stuff, or like, is that kind of a waste of screen
time?
No,
I liked it. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Tarkin and who's the villain in Rogue One? The other guy, not.
Oh yeah,
it reminded me of. Krennic. It reminded me of Tarkin and Krennic, like that sort of head clashing. Tarkin taking credit for the Death Star, Krennic trying to like say this is my work, but it's
will we see Krennic?
Oh, maybe.
Now we're talking.
Oh man,
now we're talking.
We saw Death Troopers. That was cool. That was a little cool thing. Just a little one.
Oh yeah, that
Death
was
Troopers.
Hype actually.
Yeah,
I love those guys.
When I saw that, I was like, oh, Death Troopers.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So you don't think that there were too many plot lines?
Yeah, I think there were. I think there's so many loose ends. Well, I shouldn't say so many because I probably can count on one hand.
Ferrex could have been cleaned up a little bit. I think there was a little.
It was messy. It was messy.
Like Val's relationship with that girl. I don't remember her name. She was
Bix?
like the East Indian girl in the group.
Oh,
and they
yeah.
had like a relationship. But there was like kind of screen time showing the strain of their relationship, and one girl was like more committed to the rebellion than the other one. I was kind of like, I don't care about them, Like I get the message, but this could have been portrayed in one scene. And
this could have been done in an email.
Not multiple scenes.
Yeah,
I just felt like there were like, kind of some little things like that, or like the relationship between Luthen and that other girl he was working with in the museum. I feel like they had a lot of dialogue that was just kind of pointless.
I found myself scrolling my phone through some of their scenes. Yeah,
it just kind of, I don't even remember what they talked about. Like, it was like keeping him in line or something. Like, I don't.
Maybe I think they do have that dynamic where they kind of lean on each other at times, for sure. Right.
So that's the thing. I don't know if that was like. I don't know if I'd go back and take that out, but it just makes me think if they did take that out, what else could they have put in? More good than something else.
Yeah. Also, one thing I just want to say, Luthen ship, coolest ship ever.
It's a great ship.
Right?
For sure.
And so you see, he's got like this high technology that he probably gives to the rebels, you know? And like just he knows the Empire. So it's like, I think the Andor story is really the Luthen story. Now that we're kind of talking about it and sharing these ideas out loud, because it's like it's Luthen playing the rebellion, the Empire, whatever goes on in the middle. It's all connected to Luthen. And so I think
he's the rebel Palpatine.
Yeah.
I miss her calling him It's gonna come out. He's a Palpatine.
So, yeah, that's Palpatine's
actually a
son or something
Palpatine
like
clone.
that. Yeah, that'll play into Rey's parentage for the sequels. It'll all make sense in the end.
Hey, did you watch that video I posted in the council chamber about Luthen Ship?
No, maybe
They were talking about the laser system that he had when he did that spin.
That was dope. I was more impressed with the little like micro darts things.
That was cool.
I thought that was dope.
They were like so shocked when they saw that. They're like, "What the fuck?"
Just like it was hilarious. Like the Imperial officer was just standing there, dead face, just like, well, let's
they were so confident
about this.
Like they're like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna get this guy. Yeah, pull him in.
We could use the practice." Yeah.
But that laser that came out, it was like,
like the wing laser.
What is that? Like I was just thinking, I was thinking like, have we seen that before? That's really cool. It seems almost OP. So and then that video that I posted was someone saying that it's the same technology like we saw in Fallen Order, the laser they were using to disassemble ships at the beginning.
I haven't played Fallen Order, but I know I still haven't. Don't stop.
Okay. You've seen me play it.
I have. I've watched your stream. That legendary one was man, it was hard to watch sometimes because it was just so hard. I don't mean you're a bad player. No, it was just so hard.
Okay, but there were these big, like they showed there were scenes of like these junkyards disassembling Republic ships and using them for parts or whatever. So there's this big machine that has like a laser that shoots from one end to the other, and it would like slice through a big
like a bandsaw kind of.
Yeah.
Cool.
So someone made that connection that technology might be the thing on Luthen Ship, which kind of makes sense. I don't know.
Like I saw that scene, I was like, man, are we gonna get a Battlefront 3, and are we gonna get those sort of missions?
Could you imagine all the shit they have to add now?
Like co-op missions, like Rogue One-esque missions in Battlefront 3 with like 3 of your buddies and yourself, like having to like
heist, like GTA,
like a heist mission. You have to get away in ships. You have to battle off these TIE fighters. You have to get down and evade them. You have to pay off individuals. You don't know who's going to double cross you. Like just layers. It could be, but I mean, I'm talking about a video game that would take like 7 years to make. But
well, maybe that open world will have that open world game they're making will have some cool shit like that.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a couple things I wanted to talk about.
Sure.
So there's two things that worked really well in this show, which is the heist and the prison. And I think why they work really well is they're both really simple premises that are relatable to our world, that happen in our world, and we all kind of understand how they go. So the moment we realize they're going to steal it from the Empire, we already know kind of how that's going to go down. It's going to be a small team. They're going to sneak in. And we're already invested in how it's going to play out. Then we learn about kind of the base that's established on Aldani. Yeah, and so it's really simple to understand, but it's really complicated with a lot of moving parts, and it's fun to see a plan like that play out. And because
like the plan is almost playing out on eggshells because you're watching them, you're like, oh my gosh, like one misstep, and this plan is through.
Have you seen like any of the like Ocean's 11, Ocean?
Yeah, I've seen a couple of those.
It's movies, like that. We don't see the plan until it's happening, and that's the best because we're excited, we're engaged, but we are seeing it for the first time. Even though we've seen all this prep, it still feels rewarding to see it play out.
Yeah.
Even though we don't know what's going to happen next, but they know.
Andor did that in like 2 episodes too. I thought that heist was going to be the main plot line.
Dude, same.
Yeah,
absolutely same.
And then they kept going, and then I thought the prison, that's going to be the main plot line, and then it kept going. And now we're at the end on Ferrix. I think that's what just makes it so brilliant. There's like 3 moments. There's 3 moments like, oh, what could it be? What could be the straw that actually puts this rebellion into place here? What's it going to be?
And the prison was so awesome, and me and you talked about this while we were gaming because it's such a simple concept. We all understood the rules of the game. Like he was in prison, we knew that there were guards, we knew there was no way out, but how are they going to get out? It's like an impossible object.
And now there's one more factor, right? Like you have a prisoner that's almost on the side of the Empire, right? Like Andy Serkis's character, he's like making sure those rules are enforced. So now step 1 isn't where are the guards, isn't where's the way out. Step 1 is to get the prisoner that's with the guards on your side.
Yeah.
And
And
that's when it all switches, right? When he realizes I'm not getting out, that's when it all like triggers.
And the fucking sawing and then putting it away. How intriguing is that? Because you have no idea what's in that
thing.
pipe.
That's something that's just happening, and we have to assume it's happening any chance they
it's going to play a big role. We don't know what.
And
that's just ticking away. Have you ever seen the show Prison Break?
I haven't. I've been recommended it, but I hate Prison Break shows that are like more than 2 seasons. What? Why? Why do you need more than 2 seasons to escape?
Well, it's very complicated, and the point that I wanted to say is that at one point, the main character in Prison Break, he's like an engineer, and he's figured out the whole layout of the prison before he goes in it. Because his whole reason for going into prison, he wants to break his brother out because he knows his brother's innocent or whatever.
Okay.
So he memorizes the whole blueprints of the prison. Then he allows himself to get arrested. Then he goes into the prison with his whole plan. It's actually tattooed on his whole body, the whole blueprint of the prison. So he's sitting on these bleachers in this prison yard at one point, and he's unscrewing a bolt that he's going to need as a tool at some point. So he unscrews this bolt, and he's using it to just kind of chip away at something in his cell room, or he's like using it to like dig something, or like, and they just slowly over time keep showing him working away with this little bolt. You're like, what the fuck is he doing with this little bolt? And that's the vibe I got from it. Just the intrigue is there.
Yes.
And it's so, you need to be so good at writing, I feel like, to incorporate that in the story in a believable way. And then see it executed well in a way that is satisfying.
Yeah. And like just that common cause, that one fist, like that same theme that has to happen for the rebellion to be a thing, right? Like Cassian and I forget Andy Serkis' character's name, but like one hand into one fist, one way out,
Yeah. Oh, and amazing factors in the prison. The floor being electrocuted is like, how are they going to get around that?
I know. I always kept thinking, the boots, they have to get a pair of boots, and then they just never do. It's not necessary. Yeah.
And it's like, even when they do escape, you're on an island,
and only see 2 that actually get out. Yeah,
exactly. So I just think there was, and I just think simple premises just go such a long way. If they're well executed, it doesn't have to be the most believable plot ever.
Yes,
but it's fun when it's simple but complex.
Yeah,
like the plan to get the elevator to stop with the guy on it. That was pivotal to them even getting out in the first place.
And that's like just such like a self-conscious aware, like just sort of an overlying thing, like just being aware of the everyday things that are going on around you, like are significant. That elevator coming down with the prisoner, they know there's only one guard on there. They know they don't have the guards in there because they know the floor is electrocuted. So if they can get rid of the electric floor, well, the guards aren't an issue now,
Yeah, that's it's just so fun to see that all come together, especially when you have a smart protagonist. Like that guy from day one was already looking at taking note of those things. Andor.
Yeah. Oh, and like,
you never took him for that kind of, you take him for a guy who would just give up.
And that's what makes him so good at what he does is he's selfish. He thinks, how will I get out? I don't care about these prisoners. How am I going to get out?
But he formulates it in a way where it's about everybody.
Yeah, it starts with him wanting something selfish, and it ends with people working together to get what they want. Like the heist starts with Cassian wanting to get money to get him and his mom off of Ferrix, but it ends with the rebellion getting rich and Cassian getting rich and everybody kind of benefiting. Well, benefiting, it obviously was major fallout, but then like the prison, Cassian wants to get out. He doesn't care about the prisoners, but all the prisoners get out as a result of Cassian wanting to get out, and then
raising ships, or what's the expression? Raising tides.
Sure. Yeah. Is that a thing?
No. The expression raising tides lift all ships.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Right. And then like the last thing, like he wants to save Bix, and the Empire thinks he's going to show up to his mom's funeral, but he doesn't know his mom's dead. He's showing up to Ferrix, and his mom is unrelated, but he shows up to Ferrix. The Empire has a heavy presence because they think Cassian's going to show up. So now these people on Ferrix see the increased Imperial presence, and they're more agitated now. So it's going to take less to spark something. So all these independent, selfish factors turn into these sparks that light flames.
And I like that you said that, because that it reminded me that Cassian faced, there were a lot of consequences for his actions, like massive domino effects for everything that he did for himself, which I think makes him a captivating character.
Yeah,
because he is chock full of flaws, and he keeps doing good things, but it keeps coming at the cost of so much.
True. Oh my gosh. Yeah, man. Oh, I like just you talking about like making choices and decisions just reminds me of Tales of the Jedi, which I don't want to get into it today, but just seeing
We'll do another podcast on
the
it.
parallel choices of Ahsoka and Dooku and how they make it and where it leads them, and like I don't even blame Dooku, but yeah, another video, another time.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, what you think we'll see Andy Serkis character?
Yeah, that's good. That's good enough.
Who I cannot not remember who that is.
That's he plays Snoke in The Last Jedi.
Yes.
So he's chilling at the bottom. I don't know.
We have to see him again. It was so unsatisfying how.
What if his body is the one that's in good condition? Because did he jump? I forget if he jumped or not. What if he stayed on? What if he's the last one on the prison and the Empire takes him? And it's like, where did your friends go? And it's like, damn, my friends. And he becomes this creature full of hate.
I could see that being the season 2 opener, him being interrogated. That'd be interesting.
That would be interesting.
So yeah, we might see him again.
I think it's possible. Yeah, I think he's definitely an unfinished plot line.
Like a show like Star Wars has taught me, if you don't see somebody die on screen, assume they're coming back.
Game of Thrones taught me that.
Oh yeah,
with the Hound. Yeah.
Too many people in Star Wars fall to their death, and now it's just like, okay, they're coming back. But Phasma never came back.
That was like the one you wanted to come back for Rise of Skywalker. She would be
back. I'm like,
that would have been such a great. Oh, could you imagine? Like, okay, space horses, I'll fuck with it. Cool, awesome on the spaceship. But imagine Phasma on other space horses and like a cavalry charge on the wing of this fucking Imperial cruiser.
Phasma's been growing her
Phasma against Finn. Yeah. Or like speed bikes against horses. I don't give a fuck, but just like Phasma against Finn, that matchup. And it was fuck you, Rian Johnson. That was the worst like rival fight ever between Phasma and Finn.
Phasma just
Chrome Dome! Boom. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Unfreaking real. You had this other question here, Mystic. Thoughts on seeing Organas in season 2? I mean, that'd be great after what they did with Kenobi.
I think end of season 2, like maybe like even an end credit scene with the Organas. I think keep the Skywalkers out of it for now. We're doing so well because now we know Leia's a Jedi, so now they can kind of sneak a Jedi in there without us knowing. Not really. I don't really care about that, but I don't know. I don't really want to see the Organas. Maybe Bail. That would be a nice little like what's up,
Well, the one thing that I wanted for so long, and I know so many other people wanted, was new original characters and new stories. So it's been nice to see Andor on this path, but it was so successful in season 1. I feel like season 2, I wouldn't mind seeing them start to connect the dots a little bit. Bringing kind
of like come together a bit more.
Like seeing Krennic is not fan service. He was crucial to the plot of Rogue One. So it almost you get to a point where it's like, well, when are we going to see these people?
Maybe hear of a Vader atrocity, like he killed like a whole village or some shit like that.
I love nods to like just subtle, workings.
Because that's something Kenobi did give us. It gave us the brutality of Darth Vader. When he's just walking through that village, snapping necks and stuff like that. Like so it's like the Empire is becoming and showing their true colors now, and I think now you can start to bring in. I'm not saying bring in the Inquisition or Inquisitors or anything like that, because like you said, then it becomes their story. And we don't want that right now. We want the Cloak and Dagger. We want the people that are underneath in the sewers, like putting mines and like blowing stuff up, like causing havoc throughout the Empire. But not, it's like cat and mouse, right? Like the cat's trying to catch the mice, but the mice are scattering, and there's more mice than there are cats. But it's like the cat catches one mouse, and it's like, whoa, what does that mean?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, they they can do something. And okay, I'm going off on it here. What if this leads to a renewal of the original trilogy? Like, what if we get like A New Hope redone, Empire Strikes Back redone? Because
Ooh.
I don't know, could happen. You know, like they're dated movies, and like parts of them, it feels like they aren't canon anymore because of what's happened in Clone Wars or Mandalorian or Boba Fett. I mean, maybe it is. Maybe they've kept it airtight. I don't know that they have.
Well, I'd love to see them connect the dots a little more with all this new stuff they've incorporated, like somehow piece that in a little more to make it all feel connected, but I think it would just be impossible. How do you replace the original cast? Like how
I don't know.
I just don't think it would be possible.
Yeah, well, I mean, they tried to bring back the original cast for the sequels, and that didn't go over very well. They just ended up killing them all.
Yeah.
Except for Lando.
Yeah, but
who cares about Lando, though? And apparently we're getting a Lando Calrissian series.
I think that got canceled, didn't it?
Did it? Oh, maybe it
I
did.
think so.
It was supposed to be Donald Glover, right? Excuse me.
Yeah. I would have been sick. I would have been so down to see Donald Glover play Lando. He was a killer Lando.
Yeah, I think I would be going into that with the same attitude you were going into Andor with. Like, I don't know, like sort of a side character.
That's I would have to be a lighthearted. Like I'd love to see a Lando comedy Star Wars show or something.
Okay, that'd be okay. Maybe a little lighthearted. Okay, but then on that note, I want a freaking like R-rated, like a R-rated, almost horror-esque Star Wars movie.
So that's what people are hoping Acolyte's going to be like, right?
Yeah, well, because the original line for Marva Andor was supposed to be "fuck the Empire," but they changed it to "fight the Empire," and it's like, okay,
I heard about that. Yeah,
I get that. I'm fine with it. I'm not gonna like sweat my ass off over it, but
some people were already saying that Star Wars has been too dark with Darth Vader and Andor already, too gritty.
Oh, come on. It's like, a dark time. Like, they're not telling a freaking child
people
story.
Always bring up that George Lucas quote where he says it's for kids. But, like, that must have been a tongue-in-cheek comment because the themes in Star Wars are not.
But it's like the kids that would have enjoyed the original trilogy then are adults now. You know, and we know how the world works. We know it's
true. It's a different time now in Hollywood, and we have violent video games now, and yeah, R-rated would be good. What I've always wanted to see is did you ever watch House of Cards?
No, I've heard
a House of Cards Star Wars thing with Palpatine.
Oh, like a political power grab?
Entirely politics and all the underhanded shit that Palpatine did while he was rising in the ranks. That's it. Very complicated plot. Could be low budget.
I think that's the appeal of Game of Thrones, I think, and House of the Dragon. I think that's a big appeal, is the politics and like the underhand deals that people don't know about, right? Because it's not all action all the time in these shows. It's this political, psychological, like what's this chess match? What's the next move? What's the next 3 moves?
Why do people like that so much, you think?
Why? I mean, I don't know, because they want to be ahead themselves. They want to know how to think so that they can get ahead themselves. They want to see the worst parts of people so that they can assume the worst parts.
So
maybe, I don't know. I'm speculating.
Or do you think that there's some kind of connection to real world politics and shit that we all suspect is going on behind the scenes? And then
I'll say this: if you think the government's batting 1,000 and like not telling us any lies, okay, I think that's a pretty unbelievable conspiracy.
or is politics just an adult theme that becomes appealing once you mature?
I think it has to be a theme in your life as you mature, because it affects us more now, right? You and I pay taxes. I don't want to pay taxes. I don't want to pay for this dumbass apartment, but I have to.
Yeah.
And so, like, when stuff gets more expensive, like in Canada, like it is right now, well, is it the Empire? Who's squeezing who?
Fist buddy.
Yeah. In a loving way, though, just for YouTube content.
Yes,
you're speaking figuratively.
Okay, we're approaching an hour, so I think we should wrap it up, and we will do another podcast for Tales of the Jedi for sure. I haven't seen it
I'm
yet,
down.
so
Yeah.
yeah, I think that I want to simplify the content on my channel, and I want to do like new Star Wars content gets one episode of Real Talk and a podcast. So it's just some really simple.
Let's do it,
format.
man. Yeah. I'm liking this. So
Yeah, sweet. Well, I'm glad that you joined me again. It's always a pleasure to talk to you about this stuff because I feel
it's
like
good
when we're
shit.
able
Yeah.
to just dedicate time to it, we can really go off on it.
We
So,
can get into it definitely. When we got some good questions like from Mystic, and we had some good viewers in the chat today too. Like it just makes it so much more enjoyable. So.
Absolutely, man. Okay. Well, thank you guys all for tuning in. Anyone who's watching offline, we'll see you in the next video. May the Force be with you.